Let me take you back to a moment that shifted everything for me. 7 days. That's all it took to start becoming someone I actually respected. I know, it sounds dramatic, but it's the truth. In just 1 week, I implemented a handful of daily habits that didn't just improve my routine, they reshaped my mindset, my energy, and my direction in life. These aren't the surface-level hacks you scroll past on your feed. These are habits I tested, practiced, and lived through. Not because they were easy, but because I needed a reset, a way to stop feeling scattered, reactive, and stuck in autopilot. Whether you're trying to escape burnout, get more grounded, or just feel better about your life, these habits are a solid place to begin. They're not magic, they're discipline. And discipline is what sets the foundation for everything else. So settle in, grab a cup of something warm, and give yourself the gift of these next few minutes. Because if you apply even one of these habits intentionally, just one, you'll feel the shift too. Habit 1, rise before the noise. Let's start with the habit that changed the tempo of my entire day. Waking up early. I won't sugarcoat it. I was a chronic snooze hitter. I loved the comfort of my bed more than I loved the chaos of my mornings. Waking up late meant rushing, skipping breakfast, scrambling through tasks, and feeling like I was already behind before the day even started. So I made a commitment. Just 1 week, wake up at 5 a.m. every day and see what happens. The first few mornings felt like war. Every part of me wanted to crawl back under the covers. My brain questioned why I was even doing this, but I pushed through. And by day 3, something shifted. I started to feel it, that rare stillness in the air before the world begins to buzz. There was no noise, no notifications, no pressure, just quiet. And in that quiet, I found time. Time to stretch, to journal, to reflect, to move slowly. Those first 60 to 90 minutes of intentional solitude became the most powerful part of my day. I wasn't waking up into a frenzy, I was waking up into me. One morning I watched the sun rise in silence from my window. It was nothing fancy, just pink skies and a warm cup of coffee, but it hit differently. For the first time in a while, I felt like I was witnessing life rather than chasing it. Waking up early didn't just make me more productive. It made me more peaceful, more intentional, less reactive. If mornings are your weak spot like they were for me, don't try to leap into 5 a.m. all at once. Start with waking just 15 minutes earlier. Use that time for yourself and not your screen. You'll be surprised at how much life lives in that quiet space you've been sleeping through. Habit 2, move your body even when you don't want to. If there's one habit that taught me how much the body and mind are connected, it's this one, daily movement. And no, I wasn't a gym person. I wasn't athletic. I wasn't motivated by six-pack dreams or beach body goals. I was just tired of feeling heavy, not physically, emotionally, mentally, stuck. So I gave myself a simple rule. Move for 20 minutes every day, no matter what. No expectations, no perfection, just movement. Some days it was a walk around the block. Other days, yoga on the floor of my room, a stretch, a jog, a dance. I wasn't trying to train. I was trying to feel something. The first 2 days were hard. My body felt stiff, and my mind tried everything to talk me out of it. You're too tired. You've had a long day. You'll start tomorrow. But I ignored the excuses. I moved anyway. And something wild happened. By day 4, I started waking up with more energy. My mood felt lighter. I wasn't as snappy. My thoughts were clearer. I realized I wasn't just moving to burn calories. I was moving to let go of weight I couldn't see. One morning, I laced up my shoes and went for a jog. No music, no agenda. Just the sound of my feet hitting pavement and the rhythm of my breath. And for the first time in a long time, I felt connected, not just to my body, but to the moment. I wasn't escaping, I was arriving. That's what daily movement gave me, a space to release, to focus, to come back to myself. I even gave yoga a shot, something I used to laugh at, thinking it wasn't real exercise. But yoga humbled me. It taught me how to breathe through discomfort, how to stay with my body, how to show up even when I didn't feel like it. It wasn't just physical transformation, it was emotional, mental. I started standing taller, feeling stronger, not just in muscle, but in mindset. If you're struggling to start, don't overthink it. Don't buy a gym membership or chase a rigid plan. Just pick something. Walking, dancing, stretching, playing, and commit to doing it for 10 to 20 minutes every day. You'll be shocked at how quickly your energy, focus, and self-respect start to return. This habit doesn't just change how you look, it changes how you carry yourself, and that changes everything. Habit 3, writing to hear my own voice again. Here's a confession. I used to think journaling was cheesy, something you did in middle school with a glitter pen and a lock on your notebook. Not something adults did, especially not busy ones. But after just 1 week of journaling, I take all that back. I started small, 10 minutes every night, no fancy prompts, no pressure to be deep, just one rule, be honest. At first it was awkward. I'd sit sit there staring at the page, wondering what I was even supposed to say, but I just started with the basics. How my day went, what frustrated me, what made me smile, and from there, the words began to flow. What I didn't expect was how healing it would feel, how freeing. Writing became my place to breathe. The one space in my day where I didn't have to pretend, perform, or produce. I could just unload. All the thoughts I kept boxed in during the day spilled out safely on the page. One night, I wrote about a conversation that had left me feeling small. I didn't even realize how much it had bothered me until I put it into words. That process of naming the feeling helped me process it, rather than letting it fester. Journaling gave me patterns. I started noticing themes in my worries, my triggers, my habits. It wasn't just therapy, it was intel. I added a simple practice that changed everything. Gratitude journaling. 3 things every night I was thankful for. At first it felt forced, but soon I found myself noticing beauty throughout the day, just so I'd have something to write down later. And it worked. My mindset shifted from what's missing to what's already here. And that shift carried over into how I treated myself, others, and my goals. The best part, my journal never judged me, never interrupted, never tried to fix anything. It just listened. And sometimes that's all you really need. If you've never tried journaling, give it 1 week. Open a blank notebook. Don't worry about sounding wise or profound. Just write whatever comes up. Talk to yourself on the page like you would a close friend. Over time, that voice becomes clearer, kinder, wiser, and if all it does is give you 10 minutes a day to slow down and reflect, that's more than enough. Habit 4, eating with intention, not impulse. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really tasted your food? If you're anything like I was, meals weren't meals. They were background noise, something I rushed through while scrolling, answering emails, or watching videos I wouldn't even remember 10 minutes later. But 1 week of mindful eating, just one, flipped that habit on its head. I committed to something simple. No screens while eating, no distractions. It's just me, the plate in front of me, and full presence. The first meal was awkward. I didn't know what to do with my hands. I kept instinctively reaching for my phone. I had to fight the urge to be entertained while I ate. But once the discomfort passed, something changed. I actually tasted my food. Not just tasted, savored. The crispness of fresh veggies, the subtle sweetness of ripe fruit, even the steam rising off my oatmeal in the morning. It was like I'd been eating in low resolution my whole life. And suddenly someone turned the picture quality up to 4K. I noticed how much faster I usually ate, how I barely chewed, how I'd shove food in while distracted, and wonder later why I felt bloated, heavy, or unsatisfied. Mindful eating slowed me down. It gave my body time to communicate. I started noticing when I was full, really full, and when I was just eating out of habit, boredom, or stress. There was one night I sat down to a simple bowl of rice and beans. No music, no phone, just silence. And I kid you not, it felt like a sacred ritual. Not because the meal was fancy, but because I was there for it. Every bite felt intentional. I also started tuning into how certain foods made me feel. Some meals left me light and energized. Others made me sluggish or foggy. It wasn't about labeling food as good or bad. It was about understanding the impact and making choices from awareness instead of autopilot. I even began to notice emotional eating triggers. Times when I'd reach for snacks not because I was hungry, but because I was anxious, tired, or looking for a dopamine hit. Pausing before eating gave me a chance to check in. What am I actually craving right now? Sometimes the answer was food. Other times it was rest or connection or a glass of water. If you want to try mindful eating, here's a simple way to start. Make one meal a day distraction-free. No phone, no TV, no work. Just you and the plate. Before you take the first bite, pause, breathe, then eat slowly, paying attention to flavor, texture, and how your body feels. That's it. You'll be amazed how something so ordinary, eating, can become a moment of peace, grounding, and even joy. Habit 5, reclaiming my focus from the scroll. This next habit might be the most difficult and the most necessary. I'm talking about limiting screen time. Now listen, I'm not here to preach digital detoxes or pretend I don't love a good YouTube rabbit hole. I get it. We live in a screen-heavy world, but I reached a point where I couldn't ignore the toll it was taking anymore. I was fried. My attention span shot, my sleep terrible, my sense of presence non-existent. I'd catch myself picking up my phone for no reason, just to fill a pause. I couldn't sit still without stimulation, and slowly it was eroding my peace of mind. So I did something that felt radical. I gave myself a screen time cap, 1 hour a day for non-work use, no mindless scrolling, no endless binge sessions, plans, just intentional screen use, and only for a limited window. At first it felt impossible. I kept reaching for my phone out of reflex. Every moment of quiet felt uncomfortable. But with time, those moments became sacred. I started filling the gaps with things that actually nourished me. I read a few pages from books that had been collecting dust. I wrote in my journal. I went for walks. I stared out the window and just breathed. And slowly, something beautiful began to return. Presence. One afternoon, I sat in a quiet cafe with nothing but a notebook and a cup of tea. No phone, no headphones. Just me and my thoughts. I wrote, I daydreamed, I sketched, and I realized how much richness was waiting for me when I wasn't numbing out on screens. Another major win. My sleep improved drastically. I stopped taking my phone to bed. Instead, I read a few pages or reflected on my day. I fell asleep faster. I slept deeper, and I woke up without that weird digital hangover that comes from doom scrolling at midnight. My mental health improved too. Less anxiety, less comparison, more clarity, more calm. Look, this habit isn't about demonizing tech. It's about reclaiming your time and attention, the two most valuable currencies you have. If your brain feels scattered, your mood feels low, or your time feels like it's slipping through your fingers, start here. Try this. Give yourself 1 hour a day to scroll, binge, or check out, guilt-free. But once that hour's up, put the screen down and step back into your life. Do something analog, something slow, something real. Because the world behind your screen might be infinite, but it'll never be as rich as the one you're actually living in.